Welcome to Pimpy's Investment Chat, where we keep investment talk simple. And here's your host, Pimpy.
What is going on out there, peeps? All right, some great news yesterday. Good news continues today. Let's get into this, shall we? Before we get started, do me a favor, hit the thumbs up button. If you're not a subscriber, please do so, because when you do, it helps out the channel, and I certainly do appreciate it. If you're thinking about buying gold and silver, head on over to our friends at Miles Franklin. The link will be down below in the description. When you make your purchase, make sure you use promo code Pimpy, P-I-M-P-Y, and they'll take care of you. If you have any additional questions, you can reach us over here at this phone number or over here at this particular email. For all orders over $10,000, reach out by email and we'll make sure that you get a great deal. So come on over to Miles Franklin and add to your precious metal inventory. Minister of Oil, Kurdistan's exports are nearing the resumption and the region must deliver its oil to Sumo. This is probably going to be a sticky issue between Kurdistan and Baghdad. They already put a warning out that they're not going to turn the oil over. Let's see if they do or don't. We're going to find out real quick. U.S. supports Iraq in joining the World Trade Organization. At a meeting on Monday, Iraqi Minister of Planning and the U.S. Secretary of State Blinken, Iraq renewed its commitment to joining the World Trade Organization and to protect intellectual property rights. The United States has pledged support for a series of projects under the International Visitors Leadership Program aimed at developing expertise in these areas amongst Iraqis. Both parties have recognized the importance of strategic projects and infrastructure development in Iraq, which will support regional integration and enhance international trade. So that's a pretty big endorsement for Iraq. Al-Sudani stresses the necessity of dialogue with the United States Treasury and the Federal Reserve and the IMF. The Iraqi Prime Minister Al-Sudani stressed on Wednesday the necessity of continuing the dialogue with the U.S. Treasury, the Federal Reserve, and the IMF. This came while Al-Sudani received at his residence in the American capital, Washington, the chairman of J.P. Morgan Bank and his accompanying delegation, according to a statement received by the news. The meeting witnessed a discussion of the Iraqi government efforts to implement financial and banking reforms in light of the path it is taking towards improving the economic reality and achieving development, as well as discussing the government's measures in developing the government's banking sector through its contracts with major international consulting companies specialized in banking reform and encouraging banks to open accounts with foreign banks to be correspondent banks, according to a plan aimed at dispensing with the electronic platform at the end of the year. Al-Sudani stressed that it is not possible to work on any development sector without reform steps for the banking sector, stressing the need to continue dialogue with the U.S. Treasury, the Federal Reserve, and the IMF, and other international financial institutions. Maliki's coalition, Al-Sudani's speech in the White House is frank and courageous. Well, let's see what he had to say, huh? The leader of the State of Law coalition confirmed that Al-Sudani's speech in the White House was characterized by courage, frankness, and strength. During a televised interview, the plan prepared by the Sudanese before the visit to the United States of America was related to the most controversial issues in the Iraqi street, which are the removal of international coalition forces and a reduction of the price of the dollar. Oh yeah, let's change that exchange rate. He added during his visit to Washington, Al-Sudani stressed the activation of the security agreement between Iraq and the United States of America, pointing out that Al-Sudani during his visit did not forget the firm position of Iraq, government and people, and heart and soul with the Palestinian issue. He pointed out that Iraq currently enjoys full sovereignty and it is in a state of continuous development, pointing out that Al-Sudani was clear in his position of disagreement with Biden on the Gaza issue. Yeah, he's going to need to be firm, but he's also got to make sure that he stays in his good graces. This is interesting. Saleh, private banks in Iraq are considering reorganizing themselves with another government structure. The financial advisor to the Prime Minister, Saleh, revealed that private banks in Iraq are considering reorganizing themselves in line with the government's plan to reform the banking and economic sector. One of the international companies that is currently evaluating the government's banking system has been approved and will present a new vision for restructuring government banks and in accordance with modern banking principles in terms of competition, tools, and activities that serve economic development in our country with high efficiency. There is a coordinated program that private banks are currently considering to reorganize themselves in a way that makes them a financial and economic force that contributes to achieving the national economy. So they stated the government supports the restructuring of private bank, traditional and Islamic, protecting and defending them as national capital. He noted that banks' wealth should be directed to economic development and in accordance with sound and positive policies that serve general economic activities and flow into the course of the state's reform vision, and at the same time embody the spirit of partnership between the state and the private sector as a solid approach to shaping and building stability and progress of economic life in Iraq. I'm going to be curious to see what kind of cooperation they get with some of the people inside their own government who own banks. This could be good or bad. Returning al-Abbasi as parliament president, the frame supports and progress confirmed. There is no substitute for it. So al-Abbasi was removed on some real shiesty stuff. Well, let's put it this way. Accusations that have yet to be proven, saying he was corrupt. That's a move by the coordinating framework to remove political opponents and put in their people. So now they're talking about bringing him back. This is going to be really interesting. So al-Abbasi can either stabilize things or destabilize it. It just depends on what's going on in his mind. You got to remember, this was their Supreme Court judge that removed al-Abbasi from his position. So I'm sure al-Abbasi is a little pissed about that, but who knows? So the thing that caught my attention is it was revealed that this is the idea put forward by parties within the coordination framework. Still feels like there's a schism going on within the coordinating framework. There's some members saying one thing and other members saying another. But very interesting. al-Abbasi's return? Man, I don't know. We'll see what happens because he could stabilize the country even more or add to its turmoil. Parliamentary finance calls for dinar to be confined to the state. First, there's a couple of things you have to keep in mind. Iraq currently has a liquidity issue. So how did Iraq end up with the liquidity issue? Iran's contribution to Iraq's liquidity issues stem from a payment of Iraqi's debt to Iran in Iraqi dinars instead of dollars. This practice began as the means to avoid energy supply cuts during Iraq's financial crisis and resulting protests. However, the United States Federal Reserve restrictions on delivering dollars to Iraq have prevented Iran from easily converting the dinars into dollars. As a result, Iraq has been unable to trade its dollars for the local currency it requires, leading to continued pressure on the dinar and rising prices for consumer goods. A senior Iraqi official acknowledged the mistake, stating that paying Iranian debt in Iraqi dinars was not a calculated step, and that the financial crisis we are currently suffering from is caused by this stupid step. It was taken into consideration, but they just thought they can hurry up and flip it to these currency auctions and give Iran American dollars. The United States said, nope, not going to happen. So a huge debt was paid to Iran in Iraqi dinars. And so they're kind of stuck with it because how are they going to exchange them? So this brings up one of the solutions to the liquidity issue in Iraq. What is one of those solutions? Removing zeros off the Iraqi dinar can indeed impact liquidity issues in Iraq. By redenominating, wait, what is this? Removing zeros, redenominating, that's what Pimpy says. By redenominating the currency and removing zeros, the Central Bank of Iraq aims to reduce transaction costs and make it easier for people to carry less physical money. The process is part of a strategic plan to streamline financial transactions and improve the efficiency of the monetary system in Iraq. The removal of the zeros from the Iraqi dinar is expected to help address liquidity issues by simplifying transactions and reducing the volume of physical currency needed for everyday transactions. With a lower denomination, large amounts can be represented with fewer notes, making transactions more convenient and efficient. This can potentially enhance liquidity management within the country's financial system. Moreover, by modernizing payment systems and transitioning from manual to electronic clearance process, Iraq is taking steps to further improve liquidity management and enhance overall financial stability. The integration of the electronic payment methods, smart cards and credit cards into the central bank system can also contribute to a better liquidity control and monitoring. The problem is you have to try to get the Iraqi people into the bank. That's the issue. So the deletion of the zeros could help Iraq with their liquidity issues. The Parliamentary Financial Committee on Wednesday pointed out that the problem is the lack of cash, Iraqi dinars, calling for confining the dinar to the hands of the state. Committee member Hussein told the news that the House of Representatives voted on the tripartite budget law and required the government to send the tables for approval, noting that the delay in sending the tables to Parliament did not affect the operational budget. I know a lot of people keep asking me, what do they mean by the tables? So these are like benchmarks or dates. Instead of sending all the money for these major projects, to send out more money instead of sending it all out one time. They just do it piecemeal. He pointed out that the Parliamentary Financial Committee is working to develop certain ways to process and provide cash and limit it to the country by adopting the electronic card, strengthening the work of the banks, and putting forward documents to achieve a cash surveillance in the market. There is no confidence between the banking system and the citizens, and the lack of confidence caused the currency, the Iraqi dinar, to be stored in the homes of citizens, which caused it to be lost and not available neutrally in the markets. That's a big part of it. It is, but the other big part of it is the fact that they paid off their debt to Iran in Iraqi dinars. On March 27, 2024, a member of Parliamentary Financial Committee said that the Iraqi government raised the total amount in the budget law from 199 trillion dinars to 228 trillion dinars in the 2024 budget. While a member of the Parliamentary Financial Committee said in an interview to the news, the Minister of Finance, Sami, informed the members of the committee during its hosting yesterday, Monday, that the budget law schedules were sent to the House of Representatives, and I'm sure they'll go ahead and they'll vote on that shortly. The Sudanese for members of Congress reasons the coalition was built on 10 years ago no longer exist. So they're saying, look, all your reasons for being there, such as ISIS, is no longer a threat. We'll take care of them. They're trying to get these people out as quickly as possible. Anyways, it really looks like there's some big changes coming up for Iraq in the next couple of years. We're excited about it, of course, because that could mean something for the investment into the Iraqi dinar. So deleting the zeros, redenominating of their currency, could help with their liquidity issue. Let me know what you think. Anyways, that's it for now. I'm out.